So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, Dan, and about your business, and maybe let's talk about that a little bit.
You know, when you look back at all the handyman trade, there was, you know, it's like the jack of all trades person you would call to do something at your house or whatever. Well, I'm trying to be that person in the technology arena, especially for small businesses.
Okay.
And so what I do is somebody calls and says, "Hey, how do I do this?" I'm like, "That's a great idea. Let's figure it out and get it working for you."
Okay, so you're independent. You work for yourself, and you own your company, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so about how many clients do you kind of juggle?
You know, my client list is probably less than 50 or so, but these are good long-time clients that I've had for more than 8 years, probably 8 to 10 years.
Okay. Did I read that you had mentioned that you do some spam filtering for people?
I do. I have a spam filtering service that works quite well. What it does is that we repoint the MX record from your DNS entries, and all the mail comes to it first, and then it filters it and then sends it on to the endpoint mail server.
Oh, I see. Okay. And now, do you maintain this service, or is this another company you work in association with?
Hold on a second. Let me mute my phone. I maintain a server out in LA, so it's something that I do myself, and it's not 100%, but if you have anything that's 100%, it's probably blocking too much of what you need anyway. So what I do is find people that are getting 100 or 200 or 300 emails a day, and I move that down to a manageable level of 10 or 15 or 20, emails.
Right. Exactly, manageable. Well, yeah, one of my businesses is that we resell the GFI product line, and Mail Essentials is one of our big tools that we do. But it is an on-premise application. It's not a hosted solution. Now, we're being told that that's eventually going to be made available in a hosted solution from GFI. We just moved our email off of our own Exchange server onto a hosted platform. It's been a pretty good transition so far. However, we've seen they're using, I believe, I think they're just using the free IMF filter that comes with Exchange 2007. I'm not even sure they use. I think they are using Microsoft Forefront for the antivirus for Exchange, but I think that's all they're doing. So I have seen, once we got off of our own system with Mail Essentials, we've seen the amount of spam really, really increase in our email. Mike on here says he likes Postini, and if you use Google Apps, that's what Gmail, actually Google bought Postini, and that's what they're using to filter Gmail with, is Postini.
I thought the Postini only came into play if you bought the premier version of Google Apps.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm referring to. I'm sorry, that's what I'm referring to. Buying the Premier Edition of it, because I've got, one of the things about like what you do and to a lesser extent what we do, we're starting to see so much of this stuff about the cloud, and there are opportunities to make money with your clients with cloud-based services in the consulting. In integration with cloud applications, with training as well. Do you see yourself making turning this into some opportunities as well?
Well, you know what, I've worked pretty hard to make sure that I don't have to get into too much of the, oh my gosh, I need more help to get my work done phase. So, and if a big opportunity came along, I certainly wouldn't have any problem with that. I'd just throw another desk behind me, and there'd be two of us working.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that I think is just as important as pitching the technology is making sure that the customer understands common sense things that aren't technology related, but are just as easy to implement.
Okay.
When I take on a new spam customer, I go through the whole thing. Okay, how many of your employees are using their email for personal business? And then guide them into finding a way to get their personal business off of their business email.
Right.
Same thing with, how do you stop all the, forwarding of jokes in that? Because, there's always a chance that embedded malicious software in some of those is just there to steal your email addresses or install keyloggers or something. So getting the employees to respond back to all these and going, I enjoy getting your emails, however, I can't receive them, and I can't take, personal type emails on work, and finding the right text that doesn't sound like you're snubbing them.
Right. Big Local asked a question. You want to know, do you consult or you do the work as well?
You know what I do? I do both.
Okay.
The only caveat is when, it is something that I don't, I'm not familiar with how to do. I find someone to do it. But most of the stuff that I do, getting up a new website or something like that, I do all that stuff myself.
Now, are you doing any kind of managed services for your clients?
Not very much yet. A lot of the clients that I have are in the smaller category. I do some work for a chain of antique malls. That is, and if you can imagine, the antique malls are not in the big technology arena yet, but that's where they need to be to take the business into this, continued next level. So,
right.
Getting into some type of additional services for a client like that is a lot trickier than getting someone in that's, a mortgage company or somebody that has to live in technology.
Okay, well, that does make a lot of sense. I guess I tend to deal right now more with companies, probably about 25 or more employees, typically. And we're more, when people say, well, what exactly is it that we do here at Frugal Brothers? How do we make our money? Well, at the end of the day, I can basically say we do consultative selling for security, storage, messaging software. We kind of specialize in certain things. We're not a distributor, but we're almost a distributor for some of these companies. We're one of their top partners. We resell a lot of software. We consult with customers on what you need and how to make stuff work and what they need to have. I still do a lot with fax servers. Believe it or not, even though it's a dying technology, there's still a number of companies still require faxing. Especially medical companies dealing with what's called HIPAA and that sort of thing, governments. But at the end of the day, we're more or less a sales organization dealing in technology rather than doing hands-on IT work. Now, that being said, we're probably going to be making that transition to start doing some managed services because of GFI's acquisition of Hound Dog is Easy, which is a managed services platform. And we've been selected as one of the partners that they would like to work with on managed services. So we want to take advantage of that. And so we're actually going to be looking to recruit a few people to take care of IT issues should they arise. So we're getting our maybe kicking and screaming all the way. We're having to get into this managed services thing. It's actually exciting. To be getting back into some of that work because I sort of missed some of it, but I'm going to basically outsource to people here in the States that are experienced and willing to do the work and pay them a fair wage to do it. We're going to be outsourcing some of that work to them, and I think it'll work in a virtual environment.
And you'd be glad to hear this. I was browsing through your website the other day and got looking at some of the GFI software information and caught my attention on controlling USB memory sticks and hard drives and data.
Right.